Hello again, everybody. It's Takedown. We continue our coverage of the sport. This time we head to Colorado Springs, the home of USA Wrestling. Event director for USA Wrestling, a guy who's got a lot on his plate all the time. Pete Isais joins us. Pete, welcome back. How are you?
Great, Scott. Hope everything's great in Des Moines.
It's always good in Des Moines, my friend. Here we go. It's almost time for the USA World Team Trials for Freestyle. Let's talk about this event. It comes up at the end of May. This is a big one.
Yeah, this is definitely one of our crown jewels here. We're picking a world team for men's freestyle and women's freestyle, along with on Friday we've got our FILA juniors who are trying to make a world team in Greco-Roman and freestyle. So this is definitely a must-see event. A lot of action. We've got a lot of heroes that show up, and it's a great event.
A lot of heroes indeed. Let's talk about the weight classes. How many weight classes will be contested in both men's and women's?
At this, we're going to contest six of our Olympic freestyle weights in both men's and women's. There's a phase two category that went into effect when FILA made the rule changes from seven weight classes to eight. So basically, this is phase one of our World Team Trials qualifying process. The non-Olympic weights will be actually contested at our Cadet and Junior Nationals in Fargo, North Dakota in July.
What kind of allowance is there? We talked to Tom Brands just moments ago, actually, between what is it, 57 and 61, for example.
Yes.
So, what kind of an allowance do the rules make for an athlete that weighs in at 57? Can he wrestle at 61?
Well, definitely in the phase two side of it. So if they wrestled 57 kilos coming up here at the end of May, and they fell short of making our world team, yes, then they could probably go to phase two, which that 61 category will be contested in Fargo, and they could wrestle in the 61 kilos.
Okay, so that gives them another opportunity.
Similar situation if we have, for instance, oh, it says it's slow.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
So similar situation if
Yeah, so basically, if we had, one of our 74 kilo guys didn't make our world team, then they could then cut down to 70 kilos for the phase two world team trials also. So basically, what our national team has done is we're trying to put our best 8 athletes on the mat. And so we're giving the second chance to those non-Olympic weights if someone wants to go up or down and try to make the team at those weights.
partnering up with the Madison Area Sports Commission is USA Wrestling. This is a big show. We've proven out that we can sell events and venues out with things like the Olympic trials that took place not that long ago in Iowa City, and that was an awful lot of fun, limited, of course, by some TV timeouts, but nonetheless, it was an outstanding event. Then we fast forward to the Cup that you produced, the World Cup that you produced in Los Angeles. Talk to us about the difference of then versus now, because as far as I'm concerned, as far as presentation goes, it's almost a night and day difference. This had a lot of class. It's almost as if it was produced for television, the World Cup.
Yeah, Scott, I think, that scare last year really helped us evaluate things and really made us take a step forward in terms of the way that we produce our events. I've been gracious enough at USA Wrestling to have some resources that my executive director, Rich Bender, has given us to produce those events in a grander fashion. And obviously, you've been a big part in our journey as we've produced the World Cup and the U.S. Open, and we're hoping to continue that production value and produce a great event in Madison.
It cost a little more money, and there we've always been riding the fine line between love and hate, as it were. We hate having a negative number when it comes time to look at the balance sheet, but at the same time, we must produce a better product for the fans, for the athletes. In other words, put a little sizzle with that steak.
Exactly. I think, for us, we've kind of we're betting on the future. We're obviously running some events at a negative deficit, but I think at the end our methodology here is that we need to invest back in the product, invest back in the sport to hopefully pay off in the future.
Pete Isais joins us. Pete, this is a big year for Team USA as the freestyle head coaching position has changed. We go back to a proven commodity in Bruce Burnett. Coach Burnett understands and is available for the media, much like Zeke Jones was, but that's a big plus. What are your thoughts on Bruce Burnett returning to the fold as the head coach of Team USA Freestyle?
Well, I think obviously a lot of people are you know, we're a little worried right now that Zeke left. I think, you know, Zeke provided a great leadership and a great plan for USA Wrestling, our freestyle. But that being said, we wish the best to Zeke. And I think Bruce is a wonderful hire. I think Bruce has proven commodity in international wrestling. I think he takes a great approach to his planning and execution. I think the athletes buy into Bruce, and I think Bruce is going to be really good for this to finish this quad out. And I'm excited to work with him. And I think everybody here at USA Wrestling is excited to work with Bruce because he's a professional, and I think he does things right.
And keeps that hair high and tight as a former head coach at Navy too. You got to like the look. We're talking with the Wisconsin-bound Pete Isais. He'll be there late May through the 1st or even the 2nd of June as his job details. But May 30th through the 1st of June are the World Team Trial dates. We encourage you to be there. If you'd like to join us, the easiest way to find more information is going to themat.com. Lower right-hand side, look for the U.S. World Team Trials logo. Click on that. It'll take you to the events page, ticket information, accommodations, area attractions, registration for you athletes. It's all there at themat.com. Look for it, the U.S. World Team Trials. Now, the Greco World Team Trials will not be held there at the Madison, Wisconsin site. Tell me a little bit about that. You know, I go back to the days when you were still coaching in South Dakota. Or North Dakota, pardon me, with Bucky Mon, and I still periodically find myself calling you coach. So pardon me, Pete, but coach,
no
if
problem.
you would, please tell us why Greco has been divided. I think there's a huge advantage here.
Well, and I think, you know, there's some skepticism, and obviously our national team coaches felt that in order to, once again, to try to put our best 8 athletes on the mat and to create maybe a more competitive environment, that they wanted to try as a beta test to separate our Greco and our freestyle. So basically, we've decided to split that out as an organization, and our Greco World Team Trials for those 6 Olympic weight classes will take place in Daytona, Florida on June 13th. We obviously we partnered with an existing event, our Cadet National Duels down in Daytona. We feel it's a great facility, great venue, and will provide a good setting for our Greco team to be picked. And you know, it's added to our plate, but I think, again, our hope is that we can get some athletes involved in Greco-Roman and create a more competitive environment for our athletes that are making those world teams.
Let's talk a little bit about Greco, as it were. It was a few weeks ago when Steve Frazier announced that he would be retiring from the position, moving over to a different job within the USA structure. That leaves that spot open, and it left the program up in the air somewhat. Well, it was today that Rich Bender announced that Matt the Law Lindland, silver medalist in Greco, and a guy who's been there for a lot of different Greco events over the years and has coached and assisted and has been very forward-looking. He's been announced as the new head coach of Greco for Team USA. What are your thoughts on this hire?
Oh, I think Matt's going to bring a passion, and you know, I just think his intensity and passion are going to be great for our Greco program. I think Steve Frazier did a phenomenal job, and he was one of the warriors that helped our sport and helped advance our sport, and I wish Steve the best. It's going to be a situation where I think Matt's going to provide maybe a little bit new perspective, and hopefully he's able to get our athletes excited, get our coaches excited, our grassroots excited, so that we can move the Greco position forward and hopefully get some medals here in the next year or two.
You've coached freestyle, folk style, almost every style as far as I'm concerned, and done well at it. We see our athletes go into Fargo and they become a doubles champion. They become a champ of Greco and folk style. Is it possible, as they advance, is it possible to wrestle freestyle and Greco? And is that perhaps one of the side benefits of holding the freestyle World Team Trials and the Greco World Team Trials at different places and different times? Is it possible that somebody might place, say, 5th in freestyle and come down and absolutely rule in Greco?
Well, and I think, you know, maybe in the immediate side of it, it's not a situation where we expect anybody to come from the freestyle World Team Trials and make a world team in Greco. But I think what we're hoping is that person who might get 7th or 8th or 5th even at our freestyle World Team Trials then again goes and tries Greco-Roman. And maybe they have some success. Maybe they place top 3 at our Greco World Team Trials, and maybe they shift focus to making a Greco team full-time as opposed to a freestyle, because there is quite a few athletes and that have athletic ability that I feel that maybe place a little lower in our freestyle World Team Trials, and hopefully we're hoping to bring more of a recruiting base to Greco-Roman so that we have that athletic talent moving forward.
I like that idea, and perhaps let's remember to continue to ask our Greco stars, our young Greco stars, to remain part of the Greco scene as it continues to grow. We surely don't want to see Iran or Russia or any of the Eastern Bloc countries continue to do well or dominate even at the Greco discipline. We'd like to see Team USA pick it up and do what they did back in the early 80s. Pete Isais, our guest. Pete, the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin, ultimately is the goal for these young men and women, specifically our freestylers. What can the fans expect in Madison?
Well, I tell you, I think the fans know what they can expect. We're going to have a heck of a shootout at 74 kilos. There's a number of great athletes in there and a lot of high power, and I think that is definitely the marquee weight that people want to watch. But we've also got a number of women and other freestylers that are going to make some noise. And this event, I tell you, for me is one of the most exciting events, just because it's limited in the number of mats, so I actually get to watch competition. and from match number 1 all the way through, you've got NCAA finalists that are going head to head, and it's a crazy event, and just very fun as a spectator to watch. And like I said, I think at any event, this is the one that we shrink it down in the number of mats. We're going 3 mat surfaces, and as a fan, you can really pay attention, see that great competition, and it's fun to watch.
Coach, I got to tell you, it'd be a shame to miss this. We want to encourage everybody to join us for the U.S. World Team Trials. It'll take place at the end of May. You can get online, go to themat.com. All the information is there. Event information, registration, event schedule. Maybe you can only be there Sunday, and that's okay. Whatever you can do to get out to see your wrestlers compete, both men and women, I tell you what, it's going to be a rocking great time. Tickets, admission prices, it's all there. Accommodations, too. Other area attractions. You don't need to just drive specifically there. Maybe you want to see the house on the rock. You know what, Pete? I can't go there enough.
Oh, exactly.
Or the Wisconsin Dells or whatever. Baraboo, for example. So many
Come
things
get some cheese curds, definitely. It's a great crowd up in Wisconsin, and it like I said, I think our local organizer Mitch Hall has done a phenomenal job with the Big Tens this year, and he's parlayed that into. Right now, we're really sitting great with ticket sales, but I encourage everybody to come. It's going to be a festive environment. It's going to be an exciting environment to come watch.
Madison, Wisconsin. Pete, always good to talk to you. We appreciate the time today. I know this schedule's busy. I think I pulled you out of budget meetings and finalizing that darn thing, but gosh, we appreciate it. We're looking forward to seeing you in Madison, and thanks for the time today.
I appreciate your time, Scott. Thank you so much.
For all of us at Takedown, I'm Scott Casper. He's Pete Isais from USA Wrestling, our events director. Nobody does it better than Pete Isais, and we appreciate him so much. Thank you for listening and for watching.